Right, as promised, England take on Switzerland in an international match at Wembley tomorrow as part of their preparations for the Qatar World Cup. And for more on this, delighted to say we're joined by the former England manager, Sven Goran Eriksson, who joins us. Sven, great to see you. How are you keeping?
I'm fine, and you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thank you for asking. England going along pretty well at the moment, 8 months away from the World Cup. Of course, they got to the final of the Euros. Do you think they got a chance in Qatar?
I'm sure they got a big chance to win it. They were close to win the European lately, and I think they are one of the big favorites to do it. They have a very good, they have a lot of good football players, so maybe it's time to win it this time.
And do you see any changes in how the players are? You know, what do you think the nerves are in the camp this time around?
No, I think England maybe will try a lot of new players, some of the new players, and some of the old, like Walker. I don't think he's picked for the squad neither. But I mean, there are two friendly games now, and maybe it's the last time for the manager to see some new faces. Further close to the World Cup, it's difficult to test new players.
Yeah, it's a good point, Sven. I mean, in your opinion, some of those new faces, just to mention, Crystal Palace's Mark Gay is in there, Terry Mitchell as well, Southampton's Kyle Walker-Peters. But when you are so close to a tournament like this, is it difficult for these sort of new players to force their way into the squad?
Yeah, of course it is, because the competition is so big. England has the good keepers, defenders, midfielders and strikers. So it's not easy to come into that. But I think the manager will give them the chance in these two friendly games now. And I think that's good. That's very good.
When you look at Arsenal goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale's form, I mean, he's in great form at the moment, isn't he? Obviously, he's going to miss these internationals through injury. But do you think he has a chance of pipping Jordan Pickford to the post before the World Cup? What's your view on that?
Well, when you take the decision to change a goalkeeper, that's a big decision, very big, because the goalkeepers, they need the confidence from the manager, and if you start to change and maybe change back and things like that, my opinion is that the goalkeepers losing the confidence, and it's a big step to change a goalkeeper, very big. It's bigger than to change a defender or a midfielder or whatever it is.
And you mentioned, Kyle Walker, but there's others. Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho haven't made this squad. They'll be desperate to work their way back in. What do they need to do to get themselves back into Southgate's thinking?
Well, the only thing is to play good football every weekend, and also during some of the players playing the European Cups now as well. So the only thing you can do is to convince the manager that you belong to the squad going to the World Cup.
It's Switzerland, of course, tomorrow, then Ivory Coast next week. Do you think there's anything in particular that Gareth Southgate's going to be looking for from these games?
I'm sure that he will be looking at some of the new players, and I'm sure that he wants to test the formation, the organization in the team, and he wants to see his players playing good football and doing a good result, of course. But the result is not that important. Well, I always said the friendly games the result is not the most important. The most important is that you can see new players and that the team is playing good football.
Now, Sven, you know all about world football, so I want to ask you about some of the other topics in world football following the games last night. And I'll start in your very own home country, Sweden, where you are right now. So Sweden, of course, as we know, beat the Czech Republic. They got there eventually, and they've got Poland on Tuesday. Do you think they've got enough, Sweden, to qualify?
Well, I think on Tuesday against Poland, they need to play better than they did yesterday evening. It was a very difficult game for Sweden, and they only scored after, well, extra time. It was so very difficult, and the Czech Republic did a good game. So I think Sweden, if they want to beat Poland away, they need to play better. And they will do that. Sweden is the favorite to go to the World Cup.
But as we saw last night with Italy, another nation you know very well, what did you make of that?
That's a disaster. That's a complete disaster for Italy. I mean, they won the Euros some month ago, and they were the favorite, maybe one of the favorites to win the World Cup. And now they are out against North Macedonia. That hurts very, very much. And I haven't had the courage yet to phone my friend Mancini. I will do it during the day. But, I mean, for Italian fans, that's impossible. But it happened, unfortunately. And it's a pity because Italy in the big tournaments, it's always a good team and a good football and things like that. But you see, it happens. Everything is possible in football.
You're right. And just on Mancini there, very difficult one because he's just won the Euros. I mean, he's delivered a trophy to Italy and then all of a sudden you don't get to a World Cup, which in usual terms would be a time where a manager would be let go. But the fact he's just won the Euros and he's gone on this incredible unbeaten run, I mean, it's difficult to say farewell to Mancini, isn't it, despite the result last night?
Well, until yesterday, he was considered maybe one of the best coaches in the world, one of the best coaches in Europe, because he won. And now, I don't know what people are thinking about him, and especially how the situation is in Italy. I haven't read any Italian papers today, but I can imagine that maybe you can lose, because if they had won this game, they would have met Portugal, I think. And if you lose against Portugal, yeah, okay, it's not good, but it's okay. But North Macedonia, it's difficult to accept that.
Got to ask you about Jermain Defoe while we've got you. He announced his retirement yesterday. You gave him his England debut back in 2004. What was he like, you know, as a player and a person?
Sorry, I didn't hear. Who is
Jermain Defoe.
retired? I'm sorry to hear that. Of course, he had a huge career and very good player, of course, good human being. I hope he stays in football in one way or another. Maybe going to be a manager, coach manager, who knows?
That's what Harry Redknapp said when I spoke to him a couple of days ago about it. So, yeah, watch this space, I think.
Yeah. Sven, listen, we really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on Sky Sports News this morning.
Thank you. Bye.